Well, we've got an update in Rachel Levis's lawsuit against Ariana Madix. I guess she doesn't have enough evidence to prove that Ariana sent the video. So we're going to go through the court documents and we're going to talk about Jersey because obviously we had our Jersey reunion. So let's dive in. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome on in, welcome on in, welcome on in. If you're watching this on the YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. If you are part of the replay crew and you're rewatching this episode, then definitely be sure to drop a comment. If you're not subscribed, then you should probably hit that subscribe button and get on to it. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification button. That way you always get the notifications coming on in. And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, reviews are always appreciated. Let me give a couple shout outs really quickly, and then we'll dive into all the tea. You guys left such really sweet reviews over the weekend. Savvy Holt says, Zack Peter's the best. I love him. And blonde hair, dark heart. They are effortlessly good at not being toxic, mean, or crazy. The best. Bravo talk. Thank you. Yankee New York 631 says, what's not to love? Zack Peter is one of the hardest working content creators out there. There's a reason we hear and see him on Real Housewives and Vanderpump Rules. He's a class act. That's right. You do see me on all of those. And Summer House. I've been on all three. You got the light signage hung like your boy. Sorry, excuse me. Intelligent and charming from Forever Glow 11. Zach's podcast is my favorite. Not only does he do his research before giving his opinion, but he's also so charming, witty, and funny. I look forward to listening to his podcast daily and watching his members only videos on Fridays. Zach, keep doing what you're doing and never dull your sparkle. You guys are so sweet. So sweet. Thank you, Brittany Nicole. Thank you, Marcy Vu. Thank you. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Any updates on non-Orange Theory member Frankie? Yeah. I guess, yeah, because Joe in the live chat is referring to there was like a review that somebody left from Frankie. Shout out Frankie. We saw your review. And Frankie like was talking about how like, I don't know, like he was saying that people at Orange Theory hate me and like change gyms because they want to avoid me and blah blah blah, which is totally false because Frankie doesn't even go to Orange Theory. And it was just funny because I like laughed at it and posted on my story. And then like all my Orange Theory coaches and fellow Orange Theory members were coming out and defending me. And so people were leaving reviews. I was like, don't come for Orange Theory. Don't come for the Orange Theory fam. Which, by the way, I did my Inferno challenge today. I clocked in 4,325 meters. Holla. A dollar makes me holla. Okay. I feel like I need to adjust some of this lighting. I mean, we have the new no filter sign in the back. No filter. New sign, but the picture is somehow sharper. Lighting or something is different. I don't know. My brain must not be. Is the picture sharper? Are we sharp? Well, the lighting is a little different. I feel like the lights aren't as on me as they normally are. I don't know. Well, that's it. Oh, I also tried. Okay. Sorry, we'll get to the tea in a sec. But I also did, and I want to talk about the Olympics because that shit was funny. We'll get into it. But what is it? The Patrick Star. So I was on TikTok, right? And on the Tickety Talk, they have this blurring powder. And so if you listen, you can go back and maybe even do a comparison to this week's content and previous content. It's summer, right? So like everybody's like a little kind of shiny because it's hot and we're all sweaty. And sometimes in the studios, we don't have the AC on because like AC affects the audio and blah, 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 right? So I always feel like I look shiny. And when you're like shiny and glossy, like it's not like cute dewy, it's like, ooh, right? And so I'm like, my God, I look fucking terrible in like I look red and it's just not a cute vibe. But anyway, one size is the Patrick Star. So there's like this blurring powder. It's translucent. So it's like a clear powder, but it's just to kind of like smooth your face out. So I got it over the weekend. I went to Sephora and I gave it a try and I was like, oh, it actually works. My skin looks smooth. It's not as dewy as it normally looks. It definitely kind of like, dries it all up. But like for the most part, at least on camera, because I feel like on camera, you just need like a really matte view. No breakdancing in LA, sorry. So yeah, just shout out to the Patrick Star, one size, translucent blurring powder. Magic. Okay. That said, let's talk about the Olympics because that was wild. Are we going to talk about B-Girl Ray Gun? All break dances are valid, y'all, even the kangaroo moves. Okay, let's talk about. We're probably going to talk about it on the. I want to talk about it on the Pop Report, but I can't wait to talk about it on the Pop Report. So we need to talk about it now. Ray Gun. Okay, if anybody's watching the Olympics, which I'm not, there are like these breakout stars, right? There's like the guy with the huge schlong. He was the pole vaulter with the giant pole, and he lost because his pole hit the pole when he was trying to pole vault over, right? Great. Loved it. He was a meme. Everybody was, laughing, doing his things, right? But this other girl, Raygun is what she goes by, and her name is Rachel, right? Rachel Gunn something? I don't know. But so this is the first time ever that the Olympics has welcomed in breakdancing as an Olympic sport. And somebody said, I love the new view, the new lights, the new sign, everything. It makes you look more human-like. Did I not look human-like before? Did I not look what did I look like? Did I look like an avatar? What did I look like, Wanda Lee? Hmm. But so anyway, this is the first time they introduced breakdancing into the Olympics, and some people were like, "What? I didn't even know that was an Olympic sport." This is the first and last time that we're ever gonna see it. Maybe partially due to this ray gun chick. So she's, I think, 36, 37. Okay. Decided that she was going to enter. I believe her husband was her coach, and she was just so bad. Like, can we talk about no rhythm? Her dance moves, she was doing little kangaroo hops. She was like rolling on the floor. Normally when you break dance, your body like woo, you do the little spinny thingy, and you're just like a record, and you're like spinning on your head, whatever. She had no balance. She had no coordination. Well, I mean, she had some balance, sorry, but she had no rhythm, I guess is what it was. She did have coordination. There were some like yoga moves that she was doing that I was impressed that she could hold, but it wasn't really yoga because she wasn't holding them for very long. But Marianne Stout says, I didn't know breakdancing was a sport. Yeah, it's now the new, it's a new sport that they've added to the Olympics. And everybody came in and they were doing their breakdancing moves and they were doing their spinning and they were living their best life. And she was living her best life and she had confidence, right? She came out and she was like looking at the camera. She was looking at her competition. She was looking at the crowd. She's like, I'm about to tear this up. Like she was coming down for it. And I don't know what she was tearing up, but it was not the moves. She got 0. Her score was 0. 3 rounds and every round she scored a 0. So she's a real triple threat. I guess all those zeros stood for, the number of fucks she gave when she went out there because she was just living her best life. But it was just what she was literally doing like kangaroo hops and she'd be like pose. She'd be like rolling around and then she'd do the little doggy move, where the dogs like when they kick their feet up in the air and they're like, da, da, da. She was doing all of it. I was like, wow. Sin City says the men were really good. Well, that's sexist. But they did try to turn it into that. They're like, well, I wonder what they're going to say about the men, and nobody judged the men as harshly. Well, yeah, because the men were actually fucking good. She was not good. Like whoever is filling her head with the delusion, whew, when you get a 0 times 3, it's actually a perfect score. Yeah. Yeah. It was just wild. And then there was this other like Olympic chef who came out and she said, she's like, Raygun, it's so awful that people are, trolling her online. They don't even know what they're talking about. Like she's the best that Australia has to offer. And everybody just like is tilting their head and like, that's the best. Well, show me the worst. Show me the money. Show me the money. I was like, whew. Yeah, Stacy's right. It was like a 5-year-old saying, "Look what I can do." That's exactly like the way to describe it. Like a 5-year-old's like, "Look, mom, I can break dance." Like I remember my brother was like 6 years old and wanted to break dance, and it looked just like that because he had no rhythm. He was just like trying to pose and like doing all sorts of crazy hip hop moves that he thought were cool moves, but they weren't really moves. Like literally the bunny hop and she did the sprinkler at one point. I was like, "Not the sprinkler." I was like, "Sis, what is going on?" And some people are like, "Ah, the people that are trolling her online, they didn't even see the full performance. They only saw the clips, the memes." I was like, "No, homie. We watched the full performance on repeat. We even tried to dance with the same moves for TikTok, right? Like we were trying." My question is, how is she on the Olympic team? Apparently, she's the best in Australia. Can the real Slim Shady please stand up? Because if not, Ray Gun's gonna take the gold. It was wild, but we damn right watched it all. Danny Gossip Gal says some of the others were really good. One of the ladies from the US was a badass exec from Estee Lauder. Good for her. Yeah. Some of them were absolutely a little whew, poor. I mean, not just poor Reagan, poor Australia. Australia really struggled this year at the Olympics. I was like, "Ooh." Somebody did a montage. I was like, "Ooh, what did we fall out of a coconut tree?" Like, what do we it was rough. She was on display, on display. I know, I posted her dance, and I did it to the WAP song. Make it drop. That's a wop, wop, wop. Gobble me, swallow me, drip down the side of me, quick jump out, but you let it get inside. All the different songs that people were putting to her dance moves were good. It was even good when she was like on the floor, like doing her little twisty thing. Cause normally you'd like spin, right? Like a fidget spinner. You're like, woo. And she wouldn't do, she was like, "Eh, eh, 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 eh." And so people would play the little squeaky noise when she was trying to spin on the floor. It was wild. It was a time to be alive. I could not spirit finger vibes. Yes. And people are saying, this is what happens when you give everybody a participation trophy. It's true, though. People are mad that we're trolling Ray Gun. But, like, at the same time, yo, we knew she was not good. We knew she wasn't going to ace that. Like, who sent her out there and told her that this was a good idea? That's your fault. You sent that little girl out there, which not low, she's like 36. But, like, nah, you put her out there and let her do that in front of the world. And then it's even crazier because at the closing ceremony, she was out there in the streets dancing. Everyone's like, Ray God, Ray God. And she was doing her little kangaroo moves. She's like, ha, look at this, look at that. It was like, when they have those American Idol people that like perform in front of the judges and they're like, really, remember She Bang, She Bang. Remember She Bang from American Idol? What was his name? She Bang from American Idol. Let me see if I can find it. William Hung. Oh, he's saying she bang, she bangs. Yeah. They were like, you can't sing, you can't dance. But he went like viral for it because everyone was like, yes, she bangs, she bangs. So William Hung, yes, 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 yes. So yeah. RIP to breaking. Yeah. This was the one and only chance that they had to really give breaking a name. I didn't know we called it breaking, by the way. I thought it was breakdancing, but it's called breaking. And she pulled the brakes on that one. I saw somebody on TikTok was like, "She's not a break dancer. She's a breaker of dance." I was like, "Yep, that's right." So, you go, Ray Gun. Listen, she's got her little niche community. People are gonna hire her to do her little kangaroo hippity hop. But here's the other. Okay, so a couple things because some people were saying she has a PhD in breakdancing. No, she doesn't. That is not true. Okay, so what she has is like a PhD in like breakdance culture history or something like that. Like she's studied the history and the culture of breakdancing, but she's not like her PhD is not in break. Like she didn't go to school to learn how to breakdance. It's the cultural study of like the history of breakdancing. So that's the other thing that people are getting confused. Like, how does she have a PhD in breakdancing? And that's what she showed up to the Olympics with. And I'm like, she knows the history. Listen, Put her in front of some judges and quiz her, and she'd be like, yes. I don't even need multiple choice. Yes. She knew it. And dance movement. Yes. Yep. She has a PhD in cultural studies with her thesis focused on the interaction of gender. Wow. Is it fucked up to say like the, the focus is on the intersection of gender, but we don't even know what gender is anymore. These days it's all now it's a spectrum. Okay, so and she's focused on Sydney, Australia's breaking culture. Well, good for her. That's like their music appreciation class. It doesn't mean you can sing. Thank you, Laura. That's a good point. If just because you can study jazz doesn't mean you're a jazz singer. So, who she would ace the Scantron portion of the Olympics. Yes, Stacy. Yes, she would. How dare you insult breaking 1 or 2? Oh, yeah. Breaking 101. So, yeah. And then the other thing too is this wasn't a coordinated dance. Like, so I guess in when it comes to breaking, you don't study a dance and perform it. It's improvised, which I just learned yesterday. So I guess what happens is they put the music up and then you're supposed to, which is also kind of fucked. Now I get why she was doing kangaroo. Listen, I would do kangaroo moves too if I didn't know what the song was going to be. And so I guess the point is they pick a song that you're supposed to dance to. And I guess part of breaking is rhythm, and so you go to the rhythm of the beat, right? So, yeah, she probably was thinking I wonder, if she was thinking of that song, "I do the hip hop, a hippie to the hippie, and it just can't stop." I mean, it's possible, right? Okay, so we talked a lot about breaking and ray gun. And listen, I'm gonna have so much more to talk about. So those are just the things. Is the one? It was all improvised, so you don't know what it is. You don't know what you're gonna do. It's all freestyle. You don't know what you're gonna do until they start with the music, and then you compete with each other. And listen, she didn't even get 1 point. And that's why I'm like, all these judges that are now coming out and they're just like, oh, she was very creative. Everybody's so creative. She's so creative and she, interpreted it in her own way. And I'm like, don't give me your bullshit. You gave her 0 point. You didn't even give her 2 points. Not you didn't give her a single, she didn't even get half a point. So don't sell me on, oh, everybody's so creative bullshit. No, 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 no. No Cerritos. Not gonna happen. I'm not gonna buy your everybody's so creative bullshit. Okay. And listen, everybody can be very creative. It doesn't make it good. I can be creative in the kitchen and, mix up some pasta with some ranch dressing and some ketchup. That's creative. Doesn't mean it's good. Wanda Lee says, I feel old as a goat when I'm hearing these new subjects and theses that people are studying in school. Nothing wrong with those subjects, but damn, how to make one feel like a granny. Texas Venus said, not creative. That's what they said. She was so creative, and she said dancing is art. Well, so are macaroni letters. So are macaroni jewelry. Art. Doesn't mean they're going to sell it at Cartier. And when you're at the Olympics, it's basically Cartier, It's Von Cleef. It's not about the pasta. Yeah. What is a score out of 0 out of what number? 10. You just remove the 1. All 3 rounds. Reagan's dance moves are not as bland as the cafeteria food in Olympic Village. Possibly. I've never been. Possibly. Whew. Sydney says, it's about damn time they start teaching kids shit they actually need to know. Yeah, like taxes. That would be helpful. Listen, I don't need to know about the intersection of gender studies. What I do need to know is how to file my taxes. And unfortunately, there's not an option to learn that unless you want to get into finance. But I'm looking for a man in finance. 6'5". Urkapai said 0. Oh my God, out of 10. Urka, what did you think? 0 what? Like 0 means no points. It doesn't matter how many points there are. 0. How many? Let's actually Google it. Fact. How many points could Ray Gunn have scored? Oh, how many points? Oh, Google, correct me. How many points would Reagan have scored? How many points did Reagan get? 0 points. I got it. Yeah, they're calling it the kangaroo dance. It was kind of a kangaroo dance. Why didn't Reagan score any points? She won the Oceania qualifier officially. If some people are wondering how she got into the Olympic Games, she qualified from her region. Unfortunately for her, the other B girls were better. That's one way to put it. That's why she didn't score any votes in her round. How many points did she get? She didn't score a single shot against her competitors. She may not be an Olympic champion, but she definitely has her fans. Well, Raygun, who performs under the name B-Girl Raygun, scored 0 points while pulling off unique moves, including one called the Kangaroo. The top judges for the Paris Olympics breaking competition has defended Raygun's much ridiculed routine. Well, not enough to give her a fucking point. I mean, shit. At least 1 point, you know? Oh, no. How did Raygun qualify? She won the championships in Oceania in Australia. There must not be very many girls in breakdancing. Whew. I still want to know how many points. Joe, you know Joe knows all the answers to everything. How many points could she have gotten, Joe? Unique equals 0 points. Right? Like they're playing with this girl by telling her everybody's so unique. You know? Joe, how many points could she have won? Joe's our fact checker. Did she volunteer as tribute? Yeah, the real breakdancing girl broke her legs. Wink, wink. She broke them by accident. Do you think any of the judges were trying not to laugh? There were people, if you look at the audience, there were people laughing. There was one guy and he had his video camera, which, first of all, it's 2024. Who still has a fucking video camera from like 1998? But so, anyway, he was there and you could see him and he couldn't even hold it together. He was laughing so hard. I lost my remote. Oh, no. She had absolutely no rhythm with her horrid breaking. It wasn't even smooth. No, it was not smooth. She needs a little smooth move tea next time. Because it was very constipated. I will be lip syncing to New York Tiffany Pollard's read of Gemma. I'm not apologizing to that old bitch. Not roasting the man for having a camera. We have cameras here, Texas Phoenix. This is the camera. Okay. Let's move on because I know you guys want to talk about Rachel, but at least we have a good crowd. We have what, over 200 in the live right now. So, let's talk about Rachel and then we'll wrap things up with the what do you call it? Jersey, the Joysy of it all. So I'm going to read you these new court documents because I mean, to summarize, we'll review them. Oh yeah, I might as well just read them all for you, right? Okay. Everybody's so creative. Okay, let me make sure I have them in the right order. Order in the courtroom. Oh, why is it? Okay, there we go. But basically, to summarize them for you before we really dive into all of them, which we will, they basically say that she doesn't know if Ariana actually sent them to anybody else, but she thinks that she did. She has a gut feeling, right? Women's intuition. Okay. So, wait, this is third clause of action. first cause of action. Okay, I think for some reason these documents are not in order. Okay, well, let's get into the first cause of action. Okay. Sorry, technical difficulties. Okay. Oh, wait, that's fourth cause of action. First cause of action. Here we go. Eavesdropping. So these are her amended, this is her amended complaint that she's filed in court. All right. Rachel's attorney writes, plaintiff being Rachel, plaintiff incorporates by reference each and every allegation set forth in paragraphs 1 through 46 inclusive as if set forth fully herein. Leviss and Sandoval engaged in numerous private and confidential video conference communications from 2022 to 2023. So not only was she banging him, but she was rubbing her coochie out to him all day long from 2022 to 2023. Got it. Unbeknownst to Leviss and without consent, Sandoval surreptitiously recorded their communications. Leviss had an objectively reasonable expectation that these communications were private and objectively believed that they were not being recorded. At no point prior to the confidential communications was Leviss informed that Sandoval was recording their communications, nor did Sandoval obtain Leviss's consent to be recorded. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that some of the unlawfully obtained recordings depict her in a state of undressed and engaged in sex acts. These recordings were FaceTime video conference communications that included sound. Okay. My question here is, if anybody has ever recorded a FaceTime video, you know that FaceTime videos don't have sound. They don't have audio. So it's interesting that they're stating that it has audio. And I'm like, have they seen these FaceTime video conference communications? Because they believe that, there are multiple versions of these recordings because they said that, she was doing this from 2022 to 2023. But it's interesting that she says that they included sound. But if anybody's ever recorded a FaceTime video, you know that there is no audio when a FaceTime video is recorded. So she may need to have another amendment. Let's see. Leviss is informed and believes on such and Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that some of the unlawfully obtained recordings depict her in a state of undressed and engaged in sex acts. These recordings were FaceTime video conference communications that included sound. Accordingly, Sandoval has violated California Penal Code 632 and the privacy rights conferred upon Leviss under California law. As a result, Sandoval's illegal actions, as herein alleged, Leviss has been injured, including without limitations, by having her privacy invaded in violation of California Penal Code 630, 632, 637, and the California Constitution. But how has she been injured? That's what I want to know, because it claims that she has been injured by Sandoval's illegal acts. Leviss seeks all available remedies under California Penal Code 637.5, including statutory damages, actual damages, injunction relief, and equitable relief. Leviss also seeks to recover her attorney's fees and costs pursuant to Code Civ Proc 1021.5. So she's she's going for all of it. She doesn't list any damages because she's looking for statutory damages, actual damages, injunctive relief, equitable relief, and attorney's fees and costs. But I don't see any actual damages listed. Okay, Leviss is informed and believes on such information and belief alleges that in performing the acts herein alleged, Sandoval acted with oppression, wow, fraud, wow, malice, wow, or alternatively, that Sandoval acted in such a conscious disregard of Leviss's right to privacy that as a direct and proximate result of his collective and individual acts, Leviss is entitled to punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial to punish him and to deter such conduct in the future. So now she wants punitive damages on top of statutory damages, actual damages, injunctive relief, equitable relief, and her attorney's fees and costs. Got it, because he acted with oppression, fraud, and malice. Or alternatively, did it with disregard, which is interesting because if he did it with, if he did it with a conscious disregard of her rights. But then can't he fight her for, like, intentional infliction of emotional distress? Because she's saying he did this with oppression, fraud, and malice, or maybe he just did it without considering, the consequences. Okay. So that's one. That's the first cause of action. The second cause of action, this is in relation to the revenge P against the revenge corn again. Sorry, because I have to. YouTube is being a lot more mindful of what we're allowed to talk about and say. So we're just gonna call it revenge corn on the cob. Okay, here we go. This one's against Ariana Madix. Plaintiff incorporates by reference each and every allegation set forth in paragraphs 1 through 52 inclusive and is set forth fully herein. On or about March 1st, 2023, Ariana Madix discovered sexually explicit videos of Leviss on the mobile phone of Sandoval. The videos depict Leviss in a state of undressed and engaged in sexual act within the meaning of the statute. What is the meaning of the non-statute? Sandoval recorded the videos without the knowledge or consent of Leviss, who had a reasonable expectation of privacy that their private communications were not being recorded and would stay private. Well, they technically were staying private, right? Because, like, they never got shared anywhere. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that Madix obtained the videos of Leviss from Sandoval's mobile phone without Sandoval's authorization. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that Madix obtained the videos of Leviss from Sandoval's mobile phone and then distributed and disseminated them to others, including but not limited to Madix herself, Leviss, and other individuals whose identities are not currently known to Leviss. Oh, okay. So we think that she distributed and disseminated them to others. We just don't know who. So then how do you fucking know that other people saw them or got them if you don't know who? Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief, alleges that Madix displayed the videos or disclosed their contents to individuals who may not have received them directly, including, but not limited to, Bravo, Evolution, members of the Vanderpump Rules cast, and other individuals whose identities are not currently known to Leviss. Oh, okay. So we're just gonna throw the net out there and catch everybody at Bravo. She shared it with Bravo. What does that mean? She shared the videos with Bravo. The whole network? Like she sent them on like a group email chain. Hey Bravo, here's Rachel Levis's videos. Evolution, what the whole production team, producers of the production team, including but not limited to. So they're just throwing it all out there, right? She has zero proof of this. Leviss was not aware that such illicit videos had been captured by Sandoval. We get it. And thus could not have consented to their distribution. Got it. So she did not consent because she was unaware that Sandoval was recording these videos. Got it. Then they say Madix distributed, disseminated, shared, and publicized the illicit videos intentionally and knew or reasonably should have known that she did not have Leviss's consent to do so. How would you should have known? Like that's the weird part. She should have known. She did this intentionally, or maybe she just should have known. What is that? Like what? Like we're allowed to just like say these things in court? Leviss has suffered grave emotional, psychological, financial, reputational harm as a result of Madix's distribution, dissemination, and publication of the illicit videos. The illicit videos were recorded when Leviss was in a private residence where Leviss's reasonable expectation of privacy was in the zenith. As a direct and proximate result of Madix's actions, Leviss has suffered and will continue to suffer general and special damages alleged herein in an amount to be proven at trial. So we don't even know how much we're suing her for. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that in performing the acts herein alleged, Madix acted with oppression, fraud, and malice, or alternatively, that Madix acted in such conscious disregard. So is it intentional or she acted with, conscious disregard of her right to privacy? That's where I'm a little like, girl, Pick a lane. Leviss is entitled to punitive damages and an amount to be determined at trial to punish her and deter her from such future acts in the future. From such acts in the future. Got it. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so that was the second cause of action. Now, where's the third cause of action? Third cause of action, invasion of privacy against Sandoval and Madix. As alleged above, Sandoval invaded Leviss's privacy by, among other things, A, secretly recording their private communication, and B, capturing sexually explicit footage of Leviss without her knowledge or consent in a manner highly offensive to a reasonable person. Sandoval knew or should have known that Leviss had a reasonable expectation to privacy and such their private conversations would remain private and that she would not be secretly recorded. Leviss could not have consented to Sandoval recording sexually explicit footage of her because she did not know he was doing so. The footage was captured during private, intimate communications that Leviss had every reason to believe would remain private. The invasion of Leviss's privacy by Sandoval was offensive and objectionable to Leviss and a reasonable person of ordinary sensibilities. Well, that's assuming that Rachel has ordinary sensibilities and is a reasonable person. As alleged above, Madix invaded Leviss's privacy by, among other things, one, obtaining the illegally recorded sexually explicit footage of her without authorization. You mean her finding it was her obtaining it illegally? Okay. B, distributing, disseminating, and publicizing it in a manner highly offensive to a reasonable person. Madix knew or should have known that Leviss had a reasonable expectation of privacy that such sexually explicit footage of her recorded without her knowledge or consent would not be obtained without authorization by a third party and distributed, disseminated, and publicized. How would she have known that Rachel did not give consent to these images being shared? Like, Ariana didn't intentionally obtain this footage to, invade her privacy. She found them. Leviss never consented to Madix obtaining illegally recorded, sexually explicit footage of her and distributing, disseminating, and publicizing it. Well, yeah, she never consented to it because neither of them knew that this existed until they found it. The invasion of privacy by Madix was offensive and objectionable to Leviss and to a reasonable person of ordinary sensibilities. Again, that's assuming that Rachel Leviss is a reasonable person of ordinary sensibilities. As a direct or proximate result of said wrongful conduct by Sandoval and Madix, Leviss has suffered damages in an amount to be proven at court. What damages have you suffered? I mean, I get it. When it comes to punitive damages, you don't have to prove that, but she's also asking for actual damages, and she's saying that she's going to prove her damages in court. I would love to find out what those damages are. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that in performing the acts herein alleged, Sandoval, Madix, and each of them acted with oppression, fraud, and malice, or alternatively, that Sandoval and Madix and each of them acted in such conscious disregard of Leviss's right to privacy that, as a direct proximate result of their collective and individual acts, Leviss is entitled to punitive damages in an amount to be determined to punish them and deter them from such acts in the future. Got it. Last one. Fourth case of action. In doing the things and acts described herein, Sandoval and this is intentional infliction of emotional distress. In doing things and acts described herein, Sandoval and Madix engaged in extreme and outrageous conduct that transcended the bounds of human decency. Wow. Really? Because I feel like banging your friend's boyfriend for 7 months and lying to them and then doing all these naughty FaceTime videos, I feel like that's pretty extreme and outrageous conduct that transcended the bounds of human decency. But what do I know? Leviss has suffered emotional distress as a result. This fucking bitch has suffered emotional distress as a result of the actions committed by Sandoval and Madix, herein described, including severe emotional distress, physical manifestations of emotional distress, anxiety, shock, embarrassment, loss of self esteem, disgrace, humiliation, powerlessness. I would disagree about powerlessness. She's out there representing all the mistresses. She is not powerless. She is owning her cooch. Sleeplessness, okay, and loss of enjoyment of life. I would disagree. She seems to be enjoying her life very much lately. Levis's severe emotional distress prevents her from performing daily activities and obtaining the full enjoyment of life. What daily activities is she prevented from doing? You know what daily activity I would like to prevent her from doing is releasing her fucking podcast. That would like if can we choose which daily activities she's unable to do because of the severe emotional distress? She seems like she's doing fine. She goes on her podcast every week and she's like, look at, I'm healed. I have a therapist on that's telling me that I'm healed. So you don't seem to be severely emotionally distressed, girl. Sandoval's acts were at all times extreme and outrageous and intended to cause Leviss emotional distress or performed with reckless disregard for the probability of causing such emotional distress. She's like, he did it intentionally or he did it negligently, but he did it. These acts include not only recording pornographic videos of Leviss without her knowledge or consent, but also utterly failing to secure them and storing them in an unprotected electronic device, which foreseeably resulted in their discovery and distribution by third parties. I mean, did he fail to secure them if they were on his private phone behind, a password protected home screen? Madix's acts, so he could argue, like, no, I did protect them. I did keep them concealed. Madix's acts were at times extreme and outrageous and intended to cause Leviss emotional distress or performed with reckless disregard for the probability of causing such emotional distress. As a, as a direct and proximate result of the foregoing conduct, Leviss has been and will continue to be damaged in the amount to be proven at trial, including but not limited to emotional distress, anxiety, pain, fear. Wow, she's expressed pain and fear. Physical injuries. Oh, she's going to say Sheena punched her. Medical expenses because Sheena punched her. And financial losses, all in the amounts according to proof and in excess of the jurisdiction minimum of this court. Wow. In excess of the jurisdictional minimum of this court. She wants it all. Wow. So interesting. She said pain, fear, physical injuries, medical expense. Like she's still going strong with this Sheena punched her thing. Leviss is informed and believes, and on such information and belief alleges that in performing the acts herein alleged, Sandoval, Madix, and each of them acted with oppression, fraud, malice, and alternatively that Sandoval, Madix, and each of them acted in such conscious disregard of Leviss's right to privacy that as a direct proximate result of their collective and individual acts, Leviss is entitled to punitive damages in an amount to be determined to punish them and deter them from such act in the future. Got it. Wow. Wanda Lee gifted a membership. You go, Wanda Lee. And Kirsten dropped a super chat and she said, this truly makes me livid. Stassi actually had revenge corn on the cob shown to multiple people at SIR and threatened for it to be released unless paid. She was a literal victim, and Rachel is milking this victimhood-ish pathetic. I actually agree with you, Kirsten. Stassi was a perfect example of revenge corn on the cob. You know? What a mess Bethany created. If I was Sandoval or Ariana, I would sue the skinny bitch. A big book for good measure. All she needs to do is blow rich Arizonians. She had that cute guy. Urkapai says, controversial opinion, but I think Sheena hit her, whether it be a punch or not. Sheena says that she shoved her. Sheena says that Rachel like leaned towards her and she said, get off of me. And she like pushed her away. And then she's like, I don't know if she fell into a bush like Luann or what happened to her face, but I don't think Sheena hit her. I think Sheena shoved her, like, get the fuck away from me, bitch, which is what I always predicted. And then eventually Sheena came out and said that. Luciana says, question is if there was not enough grounds to get this dismissed by either parties being sued. Therefore, the law might not be on Tom and Ariana's side. Time will tell. Time will tell because she has to prove her case in court, in trial. And she has no evidence against Ariana to be able to prove that in trial. Ariana was in distress. Did you watch the show? Yeah. Yeah. And I believe like that is gonna come that's a factor in it too, right? Ariana's state of mind and her reaction to Rachel and all of that stuff. Her getting punched is not Ariana's problem. Yeah, Sheena didn't punch her for Ariana. Sheena didn't punch her at all, but Sheena didn't and Sheena could also it would be interesting if they subpoena Sheena, which I'm sure they will, if this really does move forward. Sheena will go on the stand and have to say, like, I shoved her, but I didn't shove her because, um I didn't shove her because of the affair. I shoved her because she was invading my personal space and I wanted her out of my space. So my reaction was to move her out of my space because I felt threatened by Rachel. She can do that. She can play it that way. That would actually be smart for Sheena to play it that way and say, "Oh, I was threatened." Brian Scott Patterson says, Zach, are you gonna tour with the Brav Bros? Who said that? Has a little birdie been talking? Um, we'll see. I'm gonna be back on tour next year. So be sure to get ready to come on down to a city near you. I think we're gonna do a few shows in the US, and I'm thinking maybe we do a couple of international shows. I'm thinking maybe Canada, the UK, maybe some Australia because I want to go see Raygun. So stay tuned. And obviously, of course, I'm going to have the Brav Bros. I'm going to have all of my friends be part of the tour, like I always do. So maybe I'll do a couple shows of the Bros. But I definitely want to go international this tour. Okay. Please interview Reagan. I would love to. Are you collaborating with any car or with any content creators for your Charleston show? I'm not doing a Charleston show. The cities that I think I would want to obviously LA, maybe New York. We have to like West Coast. So LA, Miami, maybe New York, maybe Philly, maybe Boston, um, Dallas. I would like to do Dallas. I would like to do Chicago. So we'll see. Dallas, Chicago. But I definitely, if we're gonna do international, then the top 3 places that I want to consider going to, because I feel like that's where we have the most Zack Pack members, are Canada, UK, and Canada, UK, and Australia for sure. Maybe like Sydney or Melbourne. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe not DC. I just feel like I don't have a. I feel like the DC peeps can easily do New York or Philly or Boston. That's where I saw you before. In DC, I haven't oh, Philly. Oh, Jen Johnson came out to Philly. Yes, to Chicago. Okay. Well, drop a comment below and let me know which of those spots you would like me to go. And also, if you are in the UK, Canada, or Australia, I don't think I would tour the whole country, but let me know which city, which major cities you would like me to consider. I'll probably do 1 to 2 max major cities internationally because I'm thinking we'll end the tour on the East Coast, maybe in like New York, and then from New York go to Canada, and from Canada go to the UK, and from the UK go to Australia, and then come back. That's going to be a long trip back from Australia back to LA. Amsterdam. Ooh, how fun. Maybe rails. Ooh, we love rails. Chicago. Yeah, I definitely want to do Chicago. If we can make Chicago and Dallas happen, I absolutely want. I haven't been there in a minute. I love Chicago. Well, I was actually just in Chicago last year. But Dallas I haven't been to in a minute. So I would love to go back to Dallas and I would love to go back to Chicago. I know I have a lot of support in those cities. Montreal. Okay. Definitely within the realm of consideration. Come to Germany. Germany. I don't know if there's a lot of love in Germany. Dallas is the closest to me. Okay. I probably won't do Houston, but I would definitely consider doing Dallas. I used to do a lot of events out in Dallas. Oh, Phoenix. Okay. Berlin is dope. Trust me. I'm sure it is, my love. Zach, I have a big house so I can host the Zack Pack fan club. What do your live shows entail? live tapings of the podcast. We usually play games. We usually have, you know, it's a fun, interactive show. Think of it as my cabaret show without the cabaret. It's a variety show. We play games. We spill tea. We recap hot headlines. Born and raised in Detroit. Oof. I think you have more fans in these locations than you might think. Oh, maybe. Maybe, baby. Oy, okay. Who caught the Jersey reunion last night? It was kind of nothing, right? It was kind of boring. It was better than I expected, but also not. I don't know. It just felt like unnecessary. Like we really just rewatched the finale again and got some of their commentary on the finale. And it was boring. Like I don't understand. I mean, Dolores was there and she was like, she went from one room to the other, but like didn't really like bounce around or do anything interesting. It was boring. Teresa looked dumb. I'm glad that Dolores like held Teresa accountable for what Louis said. And she's like, well, what about my family? My family's been hurt. It's like, yeah, but nobody's ever wished ill will on your family the way your husband did on national television. So, yeah, it was just, wasn't very, like, there was no bomb. I mean, Rachel's pregnant. Congrats to Rachel Fuda. That was kind of the biggest thing to come out of it. I saw Matt Rogers was on Watch What Happens Live, and he said that he thinks that he's like Teresa and Jen, Aiden, and Jackie, they're the real problems. He's like, I feel like watching the other group, Margaret and Melissa and Rachel Fuda and Danielle and Jen Fessler, he's like, that's where he's like, you don't need to reboot or recast the whole show. Like, you've got a great cast right there. And I kind of agreed. Like, he's like, they were enjoyable, they were fun, like it was, nice to watch. And so I kind of agree with him. I don't know what they're gonna do with the show. I don't even know if I have predictions. I kind of was like, let's just take a beat. Jackie was so lame this season. She doesn't need to come back. Yeah, Jackie really flopped like hard. She didn't have anything interesting to add. And she was like, yes, it was a takedown of Louis. We were absolutely we're trying to take Louis down. I mean, obviously they discussed Louis because that was the Bo Dietl of it all, but Lori says, it's so nice that Rachel is pregnant. Yeah. But like that could have been an Instagram post. That didn't need to be a whole reunion special. So yeah. That's all she wrote. That's all I got for you. That's exactly what I think, Zach, cast wise. Yeah. We'll see. We shall see. It's possible that I don't think Teresa. I've said I think it's possible that they cut Teresa and Margaret. And maybe even Jen Fessler. I feel like Jen Fessler didn't really do much or bring much, Like she had good moments, but then in the end, she just totally flopped. But that's what I got for you. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to an all new episode of No Filter with Zack Peter. Be sure to tune in every morning, Monday through Thursday. We have bonus episodes that stream Thursday nights and release on Fridays. So you could become a member of No Filter Plus on Apple Podcasts to get those bonus episodes, or you can become a member of the Zack Pack on YouTube. I love you. I appreciate you. Hopefully you don't keep me as Delulu as Rachel or the other Rachel, Raygun. They're both named Rachel. What a coinkydink. Do you think the blogger drama has something to do with it? Probably. That kind of came up, and Jen Fessler said that that's why she was done with Teresa and Jennifer, is because obviously the blogger stuff came up, which I get. But listen, just don't when you plan these coordinated takedowns and it becomes a takedown show, the shows do become less fun for us to watch. We like the petty drama. We even like the real hard family drama, right? You stole my goddamn house. The sister-in-law drama, like that's all good drama that captivates us. But the rest of it, pass. Give me a follow, Just Plain Zach, for all the latest on what's going on with me. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack, and be sure to catch the Pop Report Wednesdays and Fridays on all podcast platforms, also available on YouTube. Disaster Daters, I'm uploading all of those episodes. I believe most of the Disaster Daters episodes are now up on YouTube, so you can watch most of them. I think there are like 3 episodes left that will be added soon. So tune in. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you later.